Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome to the Legends of Tomorrow After Show. He's Dave Child. I'm Frank Moran. We're just two of the four people that are going to be breaking down Season 2, Episode 1, Out of Time. Ever want to see Einstein get in a three-way? Tonight was your night. Let's do it!
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, we're back.
That's right.
We're time warping. We're jumping through time and saving the day.
Like it or not, we are back for the Legends of Tomorrow After Show. That's right. We're
Like it
breaking
or
out.
not.
Yes.
Already starting it off with a very positive note.
That's right. I know you guys loved us all so much when we were breaking down Season 1. We are so positive and life-affirming about the show. We hope to continue that trend this season. As we break down Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes,
That's right.
The showrunners liked us so much last year, they fired Arthur Darvill.
No, they did. They did not. For the record,
No,
they did not.
they did not fire
Sorry,
Arthur Darvill.
hashtag Rip is not a pussy, guys. Let's keep it
Right. We were a little worried by the end of this episode that was like, were we a bit too critical?
Did we
of
cost
Rip?
this actor a job?
Did we? But then he's fine. He'll be coming back.
Yes.
He will.
Don't
Yeah.
worry.
So I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
I'm another host named Dave Child. You can find me at MrDaveChild or DaveChild.com.
And I'm yet a third host, Lex Michael, all over social media at the Lex Michael.
I'm not a host. I'm just here in this fourth chair. But my name is Lacretia Lyon, and you guys can find me anywhere at LACRETIALYON, since there is only one.
Look at that. It took three people, three hosts, and one other person to stay on the panel to break down this episode because there's so much great stuff to talk about.
Oh my god. I loved this episode. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think I was one of the more critical people of the show, I think, last season. And I went into the season being like, Dave. And I was like, yes, Dave? The thing with this show that I love out of all the kind of Arrowverse or whatever you call it, like universe show, is this is the Batman 66. This is the Adam West Batman show for today. It's silly. It's goofy. It doesn't always make sense. But you just sit back and enjoy it, and it was just so fun this episode.
Please tell me that this conversation happened in front of a bathroom mirror this morning.
Yeah, basically, and I was like, "You're a star. You're a superstar.
And
You're a
then,
star."
and then he had some lipstick. Just
Yeah, I was like, "You know what, Dave? You're so pretty. You're so pretty, and Legends of Tomorrow is actually a pretty good show if you consider it the Batman. But you're so pretty." Sorry for that.
Lex, how do you feel?
Well, okay, I really, really enjoyed this episode as well, and it helps that they crammed so many DC characters into 1 hour of television. It felt like a big old party, and everybody I knew was there.
I'm a little worried that we saw the entire budget for the show in this one episode.
A lot of bottle episodes, just like in locked room mysteries.
Yes, and now we're in
Yeah.
for 5 weeks where they don't leave the ship.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I had such a blast, and it feels like they figured a lot of stuff out in season 1, and now they've made some adjustments. Everything felt a little bit tighter to me, a little bit more focused, a little more self-assured in a way that I really appreciated. Plus, it's no less fun than the best stuff in season 1 was. I mean, I can point to moments like Jax leaping off of the balcony and diving into Stein to create firestorm.
That was
Like,
really cool.
Dave and I literally threw our arms up into the air when that happened and started like quietly applauding.
We held up like 8s and 9s and 10s.
That was it? Just 8?
Well, I was the critical one.
His form was a little off, but he did stick the
Just a
landing.
little bit of form.
A little nuclear backsplash there. It's just like, no. come on,
Right
guys.
into the Stein pool.
And then, of course, we open the episode by bringing in now Mayor Oliver Queen, who gets to sit there looking nauseous and frustrated while Mick Rory lays out this entire story.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's Arrow being just catching up on the show. Like just
That's right.
catching. Okay, just so what's happening with this crazy offshoot of my show? Perfect. Okay. Whew. Yeah.
Well, one of the guys we meet to at the beginning is good old Dr. Nathan Heywood.
Yes.
Who we know from the comics becomes Steel later on. So at some point, he is going to change.
Different Steel.
That's
different
right.
Yeah,
Different
not,
Steel.
not
It's
John
like
Henry
Not Shaq.
Irons.
No, that is
Shaquille
true.
O'Neal Steel.
No.
Yeah, and he comes to Mayor Oliver Queen's office saying, "Hey, the legends are in trouble." You know, and I know you're the Arrow, because it doesn't take just the time detective to figure that out.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about this for a second. I love how he says, "I'm a historian, for the layman, a time detective." You're not. For the layman?
Yeah, historian is very. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean by historian. I'm sorry, you look at history. Are you I don't understand. Time detective. Now I'm with you.
Well, maybe what he means
No.
is like to the layman in his perception. Maybe when you hear historian, it's like, oh, that's boring. I'm tuning out. But when you hear time detective, it's like, all right, this sounds fun. I'm in.
That's a good way of looking at it. Just explaining it to dumb people. So it's like when you're teaching math, it's like, oh, they're not into me being a math teacher. I'm a number wizard. A number wizard.
And to be fair, there are a number of cracks that have been made throughout the course of Arrow at Oliver's expense. That he's very pretty, he's very good at hitting stuff, but he's not necessarily the smartest. Case in point.
Malcolm did that.
Yeah,
you know?
yes,
That's why I
Malcolm.
was like, well, my man, my favorite character.
But like case in point, so Heywood is talking to him and drops this bomb on him that he knows he's the Green Arrow, and Oliver immediately responds with, "We're done here." The implication being, take this information and leave my office with it and go out into the world.
I gotta punch something. I got a salmon ladder to like point me with a salmon ladder right now. This is too much brain work.
If you're watching Arrow 2, you've seen him do the salmon ladder in that tailored suit. It's impressive.
Yeah, that was nice. I was impressed. But we do find out the reason he's there is because the legends are in trouble, and they figure out that they detonate. They were underwater when a nuclear bomb went off 3 years before the first recorded atomic bomb in history.
Right.
So that means they're probably dead.
And we also
Time scatter.
we also see the arsonist underneath water. I like that's another thing with the little Stein kind of update in the beginning. Instead of saying heat wave, he says the arsonist, Rory. And I was like, what?
Well, and in the captions, the arsonist is capitalized like a proper noun.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
that's his new villain
His new
name.
name.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
No.
The closed captions, though, they mess up a lot. There's a lot of, like, when Jax calls Stein Gray, it says Ray. You know, they mess up. So I don't take that as fact. But I love how he's pulling a full-blown Captain America, like, underneath the water and just
Yes.
being in stasis
Yes.
the entire time.
Interesting, though, they found the wreckage of the Wave Rider there, because by what appears to happen at the end of the episode, you think it's completely obliterated. And yet, for
Yeah.
all appearances, it's still just there, so it didn't seem that
Still
dangerous.
fine.
It didn't seem that dangerous to actually run the Wave Rider right into that nuclear bomb.
Maybe it was, like, super radioactive, and now it's cleared out.
Maybe.
The missile when it hit the ship and it opened a door and it went inside the ship and it just found Rip Hunter and blew him up.
It was a very...
Yeah, that's why we don't know where he is.
We actually miss Rip jumping out of the ship and just grabbing onto the bomb.
No.
And like, "Brr," and just swallowing it.
That's
how it
totally
feels.
what happened.
And of course, as Dave mentioned, we get to have the arsonist kind of break down what's been happening for the past 6 months with the Legends since they last defeated the Time Masters, and they've just been going around protecting time, guys.
While he's drinking some very skunky beer. That must be the skunkiest beer. Because he said, like, oh, the fridge still works.
Yeah.
But that's been there for over 70 years.
Since 1942, at
Yeah,
least.
1942. So that's very... And also, Rory is so old now. Like, because he also went into the future and, like... And became a time, what was it, a time bounty
He
hunter?
was a time master. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kronos, yeah.
So he was Kronos in the future, and now he's spent over 40 years since 1942. Hashtag since 1942. Skunk beer since 1942. Just like living, so it's gonna catch up with him, I feel.
Yeah, and he had like 3 of them pretty quickly. I mean, now
Right.
granted, I watched a hockey game and it was pretty close to that earlier today, but you know, it was kicking back. I mean, and it
You're just
wasn't
bragging
like a
about how
from
much beer you can drink.
1942.
Yeah, but it wasn't as skunky. It wasn't
Exactly.
the old beer. Yeah.
We do find out some of the things that the Legends have been up to for the past 6 months. They've been in France in 1637, helping King Louis XIV be protected by these time pirates, time thieves, some aberrations in time after their own.
Just you put time or space in front of something, it just
Yeah.
sounds cooler. I think that was a comment by Alistair Allen. So yeah.
When I
exactly.
like how
Time
casually
pirates.
they're letting those terms roll
Yeah.
out now. It's like, well, it's
Right.
probably a time pirate or something.
We got a time nemesis now. It's
Yeah.
just it's a time everything.
Like last season, that would have at least given one of them pause momentarily, but now it's like, all right, yeah, sure.
Right. And I do like how we see a little bit of a glimmer of this made me excited for the whole season was like, oh, here they are as knights. Here they are as fighting in monks or something. They were like, they went through, you saw that they're going to full on go through time and have little adventures here and there. And that's kind of what's happening way back in France. And I love how Sarah's just seducing every woman that she meets.
Well, let's be fair. The queen seduced her. I mean,
Yeah, I guess that's
yeah, she called that one, but I think in Salem later,
Yes.
that was all her. She
Very
owned
true.
that.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Seduction. It's a two-way street.
But they pretty much save the day, and of course they get back to the Wave Rider, and then Rip has to give his good old patented Rip Hunter lecture about
Right.
everything that's been going wrong.
And I loved how Ray was like, oh, hey, goody, we're going to hear what we did wrong by Rip.
Right.
But I did like that mix is even though he stole something, like stealing isn't screwing up. So that's you can't yell at me.
I guess if stealing something is your goal, that's a rousing success.
Yeah, he did great. Yeah,
Also, Rip's got a ton of stuff in his place. Like, he has stolen quite a bit. So you can't quite blame him. Also, we see a new set piece that I don't think we saw in last season. Because they make a point of saying they built it and that it's a library. They have a library in the ship now. Which is actually, I think, a great set piece. I think it's much better to hang out there than just like kind of a random part of the ship that just kind of looks future-y.
Well, it's got a warmth to it that, yeah, I agree totally that the futuristic design of the rest of the ship, though it looks very cool, it has like this steely coldness to it.
Yeah. It looks kind of like an Apple store. And
Yes.
this one's more of an anthropology, which is kind of nice. Right in the middle of the time mall, I guess.
And we find out when Rip and Sarah have a little conversation in there, all of a sudden Gideon says, hey, guess what? There was a shockwave generated by a timequake. Great, timequake. As Lacretia was saying, put time in front of anything. It sounds much cooler.
Timequake sounds like a prog rock album.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my new band, Timequake.
Yeah, and I guess it happens in 1942, and of course, what we find out from Mick at the beginning when he gets first out of stasis, and he starts telling him what happened. They find out Rex Tyler at the end of last season when he says, "Hey, are you guys the legends? I'm here to save you guys," and then he just tells them, "Don't go to 1942," and then disappears. That was it.
That's helpful.
I was like, okay, that's way to go, Rex.
He's like, I just wanted to show up, just to tell you to not go to 1942. Bye.
And as soon as you
Bye.
tell people not to do something, they're just going to do it.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
right?
it's gone.
It's like, don't think of a purple giraffe. Now you're all thinking of purple giraffes. You're welcome.
But they said like we got to go back to 1942, and so but Sarah used that moment to kind of figure out what the heck Damien Dark's up to. Is he in 1942, and if so, how close is he to New York?
And what hat is he wearing?
I was not expecting to be as thoroughly charmed as I was by the sight of Damien Dark in a fine hat.
Ooh, he could pull it off.
Absolutely.
That's hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Man, I enjoyed him. Like when he first came on Arrow last season, I enjoyed him, and then progressively during the rest of the season, I thought Phil was really diminishing returns with him. But now, like with all that kind of tremendous, horrible stuff that he had to deal in last season of Arrow, coming in fresh like this in 1942, it was great to have back in like that kind of early clean slate Damien Dark.
I think it's because he is a full-blown camp supervillain, and I think he needs to exist in a universe and story tone that's just really embracing the crazy supervillaininess. And that's what the Legends are, and I'm excited to see what comes from the villains now that they kind of recognize that, I think.
And I think it helps, too, having an actor like Neil McDonough who can walk that line where he can play something that's incredibly goofy, very straight, and sell it without making it feel like pure camp.
Right.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I was kind of hoping he would have the mustache like he did on Agent Carter, but the hat really did it for me. But yeah,
But he's a good guy in the Marvel universe. We always forget that. He's the guy hanging out with Captain America. In the Marvel
I had the same thought. I'm like, it's Neil McDonough in a comic book universe in the 1940s. Where's the
Right.
dum-dum mustache and the hat and beers?
That's his alternate reality good guy. It's like the total flip of the Star Trek bad universe, where they all have facial hair if they're evil. But for him, if he has facial hair, that means he's
And
good.
South Park and Community did the same thing. Somehow mustaches are evil.
Right.
But yeah, with Damien Dark, I was missing the magic Nazi corn. I don't know why that wasn't there for 1942.
Well, this is how he gets the
Yeah.
idea. I bet there's got to be one where it's like just a Nazi passes over, like, would you like a kernel? Different kernel. Oh, it's corn. Plant it underneath your city in the future. Nazi corn away. I I don't know what's going on with me today. It's crazy.
But now I've got the image in my head of Neil McDonough petting an ear of corn like it's his cat.
Right.
Like a Blofeld thing.
Just nurturing it throughout the years.
Then meowing.
Yeah.
Horribly. Where are we in the story?
No, we do find out though that the problem is as Gideon pulls up some more information that from the 40s that time has changed.
Yeah.
And you figure that Allies won the war still, even after the bombing in New York, but they didn't do it until October 8th, 1947, and 12 million more people died.
Yeah.
So they figure, like, wait, they do learn that Einstein disappeared just before the nuke. So Stein says, hey, what if we go back and kidnap Einstein to stop him before he gets originally kidnapped, and then we save everything? If we are the ones that kidnap him.
If we kidnap him instead, yeah.
But he's just being a fanboy. He
That's
just
right.
wants to be a fan. He just wants to meet Einstein and compare last names.
Yeah.
I loved Ray's comment. We gotta find a crazy white-haired physicist. Like I said, the other one. It's just-
Another crazy.
I called it an A-bomb. It's a burn.
And we also find that Rip is basically doing a Mr. Miyagi with Jax this entire episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's like, all right, just keep doing these tasks, and then eventually you learn what it's really for at the end. But he's, of course, not happy.
I hear the tone of your voice when you say that, but I think it's nice if we just accept that. We just go like the mechanic from 2015 now knows how to build a time machine from scratch, and I think that's fine. And I think he's spent a lot of time reading the manual and learning a lot of things by building a library, which he even says he built the library. I think we could just pretend like, oh, they just never used the library and now we're seeing it. But he has to say like, and you made me build a library. And I was like, that was unneeded. But it's a bit of bat repellent shark spray, but yes. I think it's fine. I think it's like, that's just the show we're into now. And he knows how to, this keeps them in the time machine while Rip's gone.
I will buy, if I can buy the Lazarus Pit, I'll buy that if you've already got like nuclear fire powers and a knowledge of mechanics, you can probably make a leap to like having MacGyver powers anywhere.
Also, yeah, and if we're going to really nerd the reasoning out, I bet he's got some shared knowledge with Stein now. Because
True, the merging.
Because Stein's been in his head so much, sure.
Yeah, so I bet Stein could build a Ferrari or something if you gave him the tools. So they're able to kind of trade.
Yeah. Hopefully mid-season finale we get to see that.
I hope Stein is really good at football. He's like, he has
yeah. That's right. We got to go back and help the Jets win the Super Bowl. All right. Go get him, Stein. Take over for Joe Namath.
So now they go after Einstein, right?
Yeah, they go after Einstein. And what I do like is they find him at a party there. And when they get back to 42, of course, Sarah breaks off because we know what she's really after. And she's after Damien Dark.
Getting some dark.
But Ray ever observe it and says, hey, guess what? I'm going to follow her. I always like, as usual, whenever they get someplace for their main mission, they already start splintering. Everybody always has their secondary missions they're going to be doing. And much true to form, everybody starts going their own separate directions.
But immediately, once Ray decides to follow her, we get this wonderful little moment where Tiny Ray is on the hood of the car and he grabs the hood ornament. And as the car drives away, you see the wind pick him up and he just like rides it.
I like how he immediately realizes this is the worst place to be. I could have just floated into the back seat. No one would have.
And they're really just trying to promote the loot crate from last month, those hood ornaments for the DC TV.
Oh, really? Is it a little Ray that's flying?
It's funny. No, they have the Green Arrow or the Flash you got, but yeah, that'll be the next one.
They gotta put a little Ray like sticking like that you can put onto your car and have it follow like Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah, loot crate idea.
That'd be perfect.
Now, I really liked their interpretation of Einstein this episode, and I also liked how much Mick loved him. Because when they meet him at the party, he's like, he's a pig, I like him.
Which he actually was, right?
He was, yeah. He was trying to get those two girls.
He was getting a little gropey.
But in reality, I think Einstein was kind of really into the ladies. That's what I hear.
And I think ladies were into him. I mean, that hair, that mustache, the accent, the intelligence.
No, dude, you're Einstein. Even Stephen Hawking can like kind of clean up right now. You got the big brains. You can get the numbers. You can crunch those numbers. You know what I'm saying? Talk about brain boners. Let's move on.
Brain boners. All right, you guys, hashtag brain boners.
Hashtag brain boners. Spread that around. Where did this popular hashtag brain boaters come from? Oh, from the AfterBuzz after show for Legends of Tomorrow. Perfect. Okay.
Makes sense.
We do find out that when they get there, of course, Martin's got to interrupt his attempted three-way, and Einstein's just so mad. Like, I was about to get these two to come home with me.
Yeah, you ride the
Yeah.
tricycle. That's a big deal, guys.
Yeah, you're getting C-blocked there by Martin Stein, man. Not great. No.
That's what we call atomic blue balls.
Wow. All right.
Let's talk about this some more.
Yeah. Which is also what Dr. Manhattan has.
Oh!
I'm on fire today. Okay.
Now, my history of the true Einstein from our world, because when Stein confronts him, he goes, "What about your wife?" And he says, "Oh, the one who died on me, or the one who divorced me 30 years ago." Ooh. So, and and Stein looked kind of stunned by that. So, was that not correct? I have to admit, my true history.
Well,
of Einstein
yeah, I
is a little
think he
sketchy.
forgot that, like, he didn't realize what time period of Einstein he was talking to. Because when you know a hero, when you have a hero, you have this kind of knowledge that you're not usually able to be like, okay, so it's 1942, so that means he hasn't done this and he's done this. You just know all of the things that he's done. Like, he even brings up, I'm going to look like such an idiot, but a paper that he wrote or something later that he didn't actually do yet.
Yes.
Because he's just all over the map with his knowledge of Einstein. So he was kind of shocked that he was like, ooh, I'm not pulling this off very well.
As usual, Stein.
Yeah.
Come on, Martin, be better. And then Sarah tracks down Dark to a warehouse there and pulls out a gun. Looks like she's going to go after him, but Ray stops her from doing that, and we find out that he's getting the uranium, so the fuel that is necessary to create an atomic bomb or nuclear weapon or whatever we're going to be calling it.
By the way, is Ray's suit darker?
It seems a little different. Like,
It feels like it's like more black than red. Like, it used to be a lot more red in the suit and kind of brighter colors. And now he's kind of gone with more of a stealth look, which probably makes more sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more streamlined, and it does seem like he's got a little bit more mobility in it. Not a ton, but a little bit more than he had in the first season.
so, yeah, when you need it the most is when it works the least.
Okay, to be fair, he was strapped to an atomic bomb.
But
the
also that was
atom
from
bomb.
from 42 when he's coming with 2016 technology. He should be up to date on how to take care of that.
I guess, but he's still doing something like absorbing the atomic bomb's energy or
And it's
something.
like, because he was confident enough that his suit could do it. And then, guess what, guys? I can't do it. My suit
Whoops.
can't do it.
He's called the atom.
not
It's
built for
the
that.
atom bomb. It should have been clearly built for that.
But he's
just like
not-
his burns.
It's more of a size thing.
Yeah.
The atom.
Yeah, the Atom's it's like a branding.
Yeah, I
concept.
feel like probably even in the comics they're like, oh, an atomic problem. This seems like it's the atom, and he's like, no, go to the nuclear man.
No,
go to
that guy.
Captain Atom, because that
Right.
guy is like an actual atomic guy. But no, not the atom.
He's like, that acronym really screwed me.
To be, I mean, in the comics, didn't he kill Darkseid that one time in JLA? Grant Morrison JLA, didn't him and Green Arrow? Didn't
Yes.
he like get so small he could ride a particle of light into Darkseid's brain and
That's
actually
right.
kill him? So
See, that's the stuff he can do.
that's when you call Ray Palmer. If you need to actually deal with atomic
Yeah.
stuff, you call someone else.
If you need a shrinky dink, he's right there for you.
But see, that's where the atom works best is when all you have to rely on him for is smarts and shrinking and growing.
Right.
Anything mechanical, do not
That's what she
rely.
said.
Wow, Lacretia.
Sorry.
The suit. No, I'm still not a fan of Ray in an atom suit.
Mr. Negative.
Negative.
Sometimes a suit has to not work, and sometimes it works great. That's what machines do.
Is this your like? Is this your like? It's like a,
We broke Dave.
I am machines.
this is like his. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
That's true. So they successfully kidnap Einstein and take him back into the Wave Rider. So he's out of continuity, so everything should be fine. The nuke shouldn't happen because they got Einstein before that could be activated, but they find out the nuke still happened. And as Stein and Heatwave talk to him, they go, well, as Stein says, you're the only man that could do this. Oh, you're right, I'm the only man. Finding out, wait, you mean there's a woman? Mick, quick on the uptake, realizes, wait, he means a woman.
Ah.
Yes.
Ah.
And we find out Einstein's ex-wife had a lot to do with some of the helping him create this first the ideas that went into creating an atomic bomb.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Nazis have gotten his ex-wife to help design the bomb.
That's a nice little twist I like.
Yeah.
I like that because I don't know how accurate that is, but I like how, and probably not accurate at all, but I like how
How
it's
disparaging of the writers.
Well, actually, she
didn't care
was
about
one
it.
of Einstein's students because I actually looked
Really?
up to make sure like Stein was totally wrong on those timelines, and he was. But yeah, she was at least one of his students. So
it's actually a possibility, and that's kind of a notorious thing that happens throughout history is like women scientists and people that actually invent stuff get pushed to the bottom and don't get the credit they need.
Sure.
Like the Monopoly creator, for instance, is a woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Mr. Pennybags is a woman?
Yep. She is this entire time, and it was also a socialist communist game that was about promoting to go against capitalism. It's supposed to be look how bad capitalism is.
we
And
clearly
I'm
went
going
the wrong
into a
direction.
tirade.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Look how
Monopoly.
mad everyone gets when they play Monopoly. That makes so much
That's
sense.
why, because there's other rules that you play that's supposed to be like now everyone wins. But those were gotten rid of by the company after they bought Monopoly. Anyways,
Next week, the Legends go back in time to fix Monopoly.
yes.
Get out of here! Really? Oh, this is gonna be great. So after that, they realized the legends all get together and they start airing everybody's dirty laundry. So Ray's like, "Hey, guess what? Sarah was trying to kill Damien Dark before so he couldn't kill his sister back in 2016." And then Sarah just says, "You know what? You're just without that suit. You're nothing but a self-righteous rich guy."
Which is hurtful because it's true.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it was kind of like I actually thought that was a nicely written scene because it's not like they stretched to insult him. They really just said something true, but because he's so self-righteous is why he adds to the actual team. He is the one Boy Scout of the group, and you kind of need him for
He's
that
just so darn cute.
Yeah, and this is so interesting because this is a pairing that because they each had, Sarah was more with Captain Cold
Right.
last season. Of course, Ray was with Kendra, so we never really got to see a lot of Ray-Sarah-centric scenes. So now it's the first time we're really getting to see them now that they don't have other scene partners to do stuff with. So kind of an interesting kind of relationship.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the chat are comparing them to Tony Stark, Steve Rogers situation.
Well, that exchange
Yeah.
specifically is right out of the first Avengers movie, basically. Just slightly different phrasing.
Yeah.
That's right. Sarah Lance just cryogenically frozen, right? No, she came to the Lazarus pit.
Yeah,
So
totally different.
yes.
Well, I think she's the Tony Stark of the situation, right? Because you have the Boy Scout.
Oh, yeah,
Would be-
Yeah,
That's
Boy
true.
Scout,
So it's
but
the
he's also
Boy-
rich.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
and she's raised or not raised, but trained by the League of Assassins, so they kind of both come from a different background.
Yeah, it's definitely not a perfect one-to-one.
Yeah, it's Boy Scouts and League of Assassins basically the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Just flip sides of the coin.
Totally.
Yeah,
So the legends find out that the Nazis got Einstein's ex-wife. They're on a dock there in New York. Damien Dark's going to load her and the bomb onto a U-boat to go and blow up New York. And so then the legends attack. And, of course, mix into it already because he loves roasting Nazis.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
roasting Nazis.
He should roast Nazi corn.
I didn't expect another action scene like this. I felt like when the show started and we saw this kind of fun action scene in France, I was like, okay, that's going to be it for the episode. Now it's going to be a lot of talking and banter and fun time traveling. But it was nice to have like two, and I feel like there were even more than this, just all full-blown, superhero out action scenes.
Yeah, we saw Firestorm more than once, and that rarely ever happens.
And he even talked with his eyes all white still.
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
funny. That was a good burn.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene, but actually my favorite element of that scene wasn't even the big superhero action that makes me so happy every time I see it. It was the fact that they're obviously trying to protect the Einsteins, and you've got Rip Hunter behind cover next to Mileva, and she's a scientist. So you see, and they don't call it out at all, but if you watch her, the actress, the choice that she's making in that scene, she's not looking around at the firefight, she's not cowering, she's looking directly at Rip's gun, at his laser revolver. And like her eyes are moving like she's trying to figure out how this thing works. And I loved that little performance moment.
Yeah.
And I loved even more that they didn't lampshade it. It's just there.
Yeah. I think I noticed that too. That was a good moment.
And I guess it's not unexpected to see Einstein. I guess who wouldn't react if two people standing next to you all of a sudden merged into one singular being and then took off into the air on fire? I guess you can react a little bit like, oh, what the heck was this?
Oh, for
That's
sure.
just a Tuesday for me.
Come on, act like you've been there before, Einstein. Jeez Louise.
And then they got to stop the actual. Well,
Well, we find out that Ray's suit, just when you need it most, as I said, fails.
Right.
Mick gets shot. The plan starts going south. Everybody's got to retreat. So Dark still got Einstein's X and the bomb on the U-boat. And they're
Go in
making
the
their way.
subway. Becomes Das Boot.
Yeah. And so we see them back on the Wave Rider saying, hey, we got to still save the day. And that's when Rip starts bringing it up, as Lacretia mentioned a little earlier, the time scatter. As Jax is kind of going through like the diagnostics of the ship. What's this time scatter? So as soon as he says it's a last-ditch thing that Rip's praying that they never have to use, meaning you will have to use it.
of course.
Very
That's
soon.
what happened.
And as soon as they brought it up, Lex and I turned to each other. We were just like, well, those are the next few episodes.
Yes.
I thought the next couple of episodes were like, okay, the team has scattered, and now we have to bring them all together. I did not expect, and let's speed up a bit, but
Yeah.
like, okay, so they jump in front of the nuclear bomb. I think we mentioned that, the atomic bomb, and then they all scatter to the breeze, into time breeze. So, for one, I found it interesting that he couldn't figure out a way to send them all to one time.
Yeah, I don't know,
specifically.
why scatter them? What was the benefit of that? I mean,
Yeah.
Just because it's funny.
unless they're being tracked by somebody that was trying to kill them, so the idea of separating them all, but that doesn't
I guess
seem...
that's maybe kind of true. Or I think they should have said, but their time detective, who's just a historian, was able to find them pretty easily.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have just been, he should have said something like, I can't fix this glitch. You guys all have to go to a different place. It's a scatter thing. It just has to happen. But they all scatter through the breeze, and we spend like the next just like 5 minutes like going to each one, which was another like very action packed for this episode. It was intense.
But you know, I just one bone I have to pick with this is Oliver Queen. I mean, just the biggest passing the buck guy I've ever met.
Right.
Because he says, like, you know what? I don't have time to time travel. You clearly do. It's a
wait a
time
minute.
machine.
Yeah.
Like, you can come back to the exact second you just left. So you've got plenty of time to do this.
Literally no one doesn't have time to time
Yes.
travel.
Oliver Queen is a bit lazy. I mean, I'm sorry. You know, he puts on his green suit and he's the mayor, but it's like, oh, I don't have time to time travel. You're not a really good superhero.
Well, I guess from his point of view, like, he knows Sarah and Ray went off with these people, and he hasn't seen them in months and months and months, so maybe that's the only direction he's coming at it from. But, like, Oliver, come on, bro. Think just a second. Think about it.
I think it makes sense to me because I think he would just be like, okay, I could go back and die in the 40s or something, or I could stay here and try to save my city.
But do you think, like, especially, I mean, Ray, okay, I mean, friends with Ray and Sarah, but certainly more with Sarah, especially everything that's happened with Laurel. You think, like, oh my gosh, if she's possibly dead and I can go back and save her, I should go and do that. It's the least I could do, especially to honor Laurel. But no, I don't have time, guys. I don't have time.
Yeah, Kartik Saref says Oliver is the most irresponsible man in the Arrowverse. I don't know. I mean, him and Barry are pretty much on the same wavelength after Flashpoint, but you know.
I guess. I found it like.
I love Barry though.
I guess he said he was gonna go, but I think I might have missed that moment. So to me, he just kind of disappeared, or was still in the back of the Wave Rider, just being like, just wait till they get there.
You guys are going to take me home, right?
Yeah, because like he says, I don't have time to travel in a time machine, but you've got this time detective who's never fought, has no powers that we know of, knows nothing other than just where they are in time.
It's
But
just
they
a
can't.
history teacher.
Yeah.
He's just a history
It's just
teacher.
him
This
and
guy will save you.
a former supervillain. Like, like
You've been waiting
right.
for this
We've got-
opportunity your whole life.
Yeah.
I got to go now.
I trust you. You fought one of my closest friends. All right.
Yeah, that works.
Should be fine.
But yeah, as Dave said, they round up everybody, which is a cool little montage of them
Yeah.
kind of reassembling the team throughout history.
Again, did not expect that much budget to be spent. Where you see all these different. I love the little like magic mirror thing, and there's a dinosaur.
Yeah, on top
Yes.
of everything else in this episode, there's a dinosaur in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so awesome, but I'm like, why can't we spend more time here with the dinosaurs? Like, I was really disappointed because
That was their dino budget.
I was like, that's it.
And they're really bookending Sarah's adventure with being seduced by the queen, but then also seducing all the ladies in Salem. I thought that was a nice little moment with her. And she doesn't need those guys. She'll go to God on just on her own.
Yeah.
She's able to kick some butt there.
It's so nice that she's having so much fun doing everything we see her doing.
Yeah.
Like all
except
the
trying
ladies.
to kill Dark. She's not having fun.
No, that less fun for sure.
I think everyone's having fun, which is what I like about the show. I like how that it's the one show where they're constantly having fun, and even if things are in danger, they're still having fun, and there's no oops, I tried to save my family and it restarted the time. Oh, oops, I can never save my city. I'm always at killing people again. I'm killing people again. This is the one where they're actually going around time, fighting dinosaurs, sleeping with witches. It's great. I like this season a lot. I'm gonna be the cheerleader until I'm not. Of this.
Until I'm not, and then watch
Next
out,
episode.
everybody.
This
Yeah,
was a
this
stupid
sucks.
move.
Fuck this show.
So we find out once they even get back to the Wave Rider, though, the only person they can't find throughout time at all, our good old Nathan Heywood can't find him, is our boy Rip Hunter, and he leaves a message to the team where he just says, "Hey guys, I know you guys can carry on. You guys are legends.
Yeah.
So good luck, Godspeed.
Yeah.
I'm not here anymore."
It's like, thanks, Rip. Thank you so much.
Where's Rip? Where is Rip? When are you, Rip?
Yeah,
Hashtag when are you, Rip?
And he's in the Wild West with
He's
his love.
totally
That's right.
making out
Yeah,
with
dude.
Jonah Hex
Yes,
right
yeah.
now.
They've got a farm.
He's hexing it up.
Hashtag hexing it up.
Well,
Hashtag.
We
make
figure
it
out the
hex.
way for the Legends to stop everybody is to go back and make a slight alteration in time to get Einstein to publicly admit that his then wife was a big contributor to the success of building the atomic bomb.
Yes.
And so he does that, and that seems to be enough. Now that she's publicly lauded as being a part of this, she's going to be safe now because the public, I guess, knows about her, so there's no way you could just
Right.
secretly sneak her away and take her.
Well, I think they now know that they if you grab this person, you can make an atomic bomb. So that's what the government just
Yeah, they now have a
crowds
stake
around
in making sure that the Nazis don't get this person.
it. Yeah.
But I also know, so then you cut back to the Damien Dark on the U-boat. Like, what went wrong with that? Like, is the bomb not there all of a sudden? Because the Germans are going, wait, this didn't work.
They fired the bomb and it hit the Wave Rider.
But I mean, they went back before that and changed time because they had Einstein talk to her before it went off to go and
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
so-
I think we saw it before it got cemented into time.
well, that's true because I guess the ripples. So
And also,
Yep.
there's a time traveler right there with him.
that's true because we find out that Dark's got a partner and says my partner's probably gonna want to do something else now. We find out it's our boy that wears first Flash.
we got so excited when he came in.
Our hands went up in the air. And this
Yes.
was something that I've obviously been reading all the news pieces that come out about this show, and I've seen the trailers. I knew this was coming, and I assumed they'd at least nod towards it tonight. I got so uncontrollably giddy when that happened.
I didn't expect it so soon. I thought it was just going to be like, I am a dark voice in the distance, and then you thought it could have been anyone. I didn't think they were gonna pull Reverse Flash like in the first episode.
That's great. I love it. And then we also truly end there with the Legends heading back to the Wave Rider, but they are stopped in their attempt to do so because the JSA is there.
Also, didn't expect them in the first
No.
episode.
I was like, oh man, what is happening?
It's all like I thought this was going to be the first 6 episodes, and I'm really glad it isn't. I'm hoping every episode is this like fast paced
Yep.
and just this moves along this quickly. But that blew me away. I didn't expect it to be. I thought it was just going to end with, oh, now we got to go find each one, and the next episode was going to be each time period, a storyline, finding each person, and then by episode 6. Oh, there's the Justice Society and there's the Legion of Doom. But
Right.
I didn't think it was going to happen so quickly.
Especially this show, more so than any of the other DC shows, I would love to sit and watch these episodes with somebody who has no idea what the JSA is, who has no idea what the Legion of Doom is, to watch their reaction when these guys just show up in their costumes, boom, like truck right in and go, yeah, we're the Just Society of America, you're coming with us. It's like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like it, maybe just me being the nerd and the nitpicker. And I get, willing to see where they go. And maybe they have, there's a twist coming up. But
Do it,
seeing
Frank.
Obsidian
Captain
and
Negative
Stargirl
over
Pick your
here.
nits.
back in 1942 is like, what? No, you guys are modern day heroes. What are you guys doing back in 1942? Especially Stargirl. I mean, she is a modern day interpretation, a legacy character from the Star Spangled Kid.
Though, to be fair, Eobard Thawne is from the far future, and he's in 1942.
Yeah,
So
but
there
you-
could
but
be
you
some
just-
weird temporal displacement stuff
But
happening.
he can time travel. I mean,
Sure, that's true. He can just run
yes.
around really
what's,
fast. and
what's
like,
Stargirl? Especially Stargirl. I mean, and Obsidian, because he's the son of Green Lantern.
So, what I didn't notice was Our Man there?
No, he wasn't.
Okay, so even though, so they're
He's
gonna
taking his
catch up
long
with
way
that.
back from the present to get back to.
Yeah.
Just dropping into different time periods
That's
and
right.
be like, don't go to this year, and then fly away.
Yeah, he's with Rip and Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
They got a 3-way going. No.
I think they're just making her the Star Spangled Kid.
I don't like that. I boo that. Why not have
mean,
Star
why
Spangled Kid back
not?
then? Because then you can have the stars. You can have Stargirl in present day, and then she's more of a viable character. You can you can use her in
I
present
mean,
day
it also
shows.
seems like she really does shop at American Apparel. Her outfit does not seem like it's of that time period. It definitely, I think she would be, stoned.
Yeah, I mean,
They did that back then, right?
Yeah.
Stoned
different
them?
time back in the 40s.
It was a good
With
time.
rocks.
Oh.
Stoned. I don't know.
So with that kind of broken down, why don't we do a few predictions? What we think is going to happen?
Sure.
Maybe next episode. And everybody has a nice season prediction they want to
Your
kind of
AfterBuzz
throw out.
TV predictions.
All right, I'll say first. All right, just a quick poll around the room. When do you think we're going to see the full Legion of Doom assembled? What episode?
Well, I'm guessing episode 2 since they threw so much into this one, and I'm just so happy to see Malcolm Merlyn get something cool, and that's why I hope that he's on the show every episode from now on.
Right. Well, he isn't there yet, right?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
I didn't miss him.
Well, so hang on. Refresh my memory. The Legion of Doom on this show is going to be comprised of Malcolm Merlyn, Damien Dark, Eobard Thawne. Who else?
There was one
yeah,
other.
Captain
there's-
Cold. Captain Cold.
Yeah,
Captain
it was
Cold.
Captain
It was
Cold,
Captain
yeah.
Cold.
Okay.
So we're gonna get Captain Cold eventually. I don't know.
I think he's showing up on Flash pretty soon.
Oh, okay, because maybe they're doing the. This is what's really confusing now because they also have how did Flash's alternate reality that he kind of created works with them. It's like the
Well, I would
time
feel
stream
like-
is like the timeline is so messed up.
Well, I would think of all of the shows, right? It would be Arrow more than any of them that would really be affected by Flashpoint because Supergirl's
Right.
still somewhat in her own pocket universe.
Oh yeah, she's not affected. By
And
any
Legends of
this.
Tomorrow, they're screwing up time left and right every week. So how would you know?
Well, and one thing I can point out is like what was changed for Arrow. Spoiler alert, guys! If you haven't watched The Flash or Arrow this week, is that John Diggle Jr. is Dig's son, which
Yeah.
later becomes Connor Hawke, the new Green Arrow. And
Right.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean,
Flashpoint
Legend-
retconned
yeah.
him into
Yeah.
existence.
Oh, cool. So that means that we already met him in the
Future, yeah.
So when they were traveling through time, they were already adjusted to the Flashpoint.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
All right.
retroactively, apparently. And then also, too, worth noting
Don't
that.
think about it too hard.
Right. But then you've also got, so the characters Captain Cold, Malcolm Merlyn, it's John Barrowman and Wentworth Miller. They now have contracts to appear not on one of these shows, but on the entire CWDC block of programming. So it's going to be interesting to see how they are utilized. Since they are going to be part of the Legends of Tomorrow Legion of Doom, it'll be very interesting to see how they are utilized across the multiple shows.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this episode, the next episode, is going to deal with the Justice Society, kind of probably try and find our man in the next episode. He's going to come in at least at some point, and they're going to be like, hey, why did you tell us not to go to 1942? Because it's not too bad. I mean, except for Rip. And then I think they're also going to try and find Rip. # win is Rip.
Yeah, and I figure that whenever the Legion Doom starts assembling all their pieces, I mean, I figure then they're going to be having some things probably to deliberately go against the Legends. And then
Yeah. So I think we're going to get full Legion of Doom probably in 4, because they're probably going to do little missions here and there.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
feel like the one that's going to be the most interesting is Captain Cold, how you're going to explain him back in to the show and the DC TV universe after what happened to him last season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just he's just probably going to show up, or they're going to come back to the present and then he's going to be there, because Merlyn and him are both in the present. They're not people that are either immortal or time travelers.
Yeah.
So I guess you can have reverse Flash kind of show him up to any point in the timeline.
True. I mean, or it could have been when everything exploded last season, it just shunted him back into time. It didn't kill him.
Sure.
One of those
Right.
things.
Every time something comes up that very egregiously makes no sense, now that we've got Eobard Thawne on this show, I just want him to like floop in and go Flashpoint right to the camera, and then Flashpoint.
With the jazz hands.
Here's actually a good point. Is in Flash, Reverse Flash is the one that kind of showed up and said, "Oh, things are going to be fine for me. It's going to change for you."
Yes.
So he kind of knows how things are changing. So I kind of suspect maybe, I think this is kind of revealing that all the pressure's off of Barry. I don't think it's really his fault in the end. I think he really tried to restart as much as he can. I think it's all the Legends that have caused Flashpoint.
That's interesting because that would mirror a little bit of what they're doing in the comics right now, where they're super hard retcon that is making Flashpoint and the New 52 a little bit less Barry's fault.
No,
Right.
this is all Barry's fault. In the TV universe, it is all Barry's fault. Enough with that
Barry's.
dead mom. I'm sorry, Barry. I love you, but please, let's just leave that.
Your mom's dead, accept it.
Yeah, get over it, man.
Move on.
Come on.
But yeah, to explain Malcolm, I'm like, maybe with Flashpoint or the Legends screwing up, whoever you want to blame, is he still Ra's al Ghul, therefore immortal as he was? You know, yeah.
Right, except he doesn't have the Lazarus Pit anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless he
that
finds
happens.
that it comes back,
Yeah.
and so it would be nice to actually find Merlin in the future where he's just Captain Jacking it out.
Yes.
And that's just immortal and never dies.
And if the Lazarus
Amazing.
Pits in the TV universe are anything like the Lazarus Pits in the comics,
There's a couple.
there are no more Lazarus Pits until the very moment we decide, oh, there's another Lazarus Pit.
yeah, there's a new spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Lazarus.
always like with Damien Dark too. If like they do an episode where say Zoom takes him, Eobard Thawne takes him to the future and finds out that, oh my gosh, I'm dead. Great, fantastic. Arrow killed me. So then you have to mind wipe him so he doesn't have that knowledge when he goes back to the goes back to his past. I don't know.
Right.
I always get to wonder when you have those time paradoxes. Things I think about, guys. It keeps me up at night. It does. It does.
Yeah.
Any other predictions or anything, or any hopes for this season?
I mean, I hope it's a lot like this one. I hope it's as fast-paced as possible. I hope they didn't spend all their budget in this one episode. And I hope we get a lot of fun, more crime fighting, superheroes fighting. And now that we have the Justice Society, I want to have a huge scene where all of them are fighting either each other or a group of people using all their abilities.
That's got to be coming, right? If you're going against the Legion of Doom, you've got to have that giant battle at some point.
I want the 2-panel spread. I want the 2-page spread.
Yes.
Is what I want.
And what I love about it, just especially with all those characters, is just diversifying the heroes they face. You just think, like, I mean, Eobard Thawne, so much of a Flash-centric villain, but now to open him up to the wider DC universe and see how everybody else reacts to him. I always like it when they kind of expand that.
And that's going to be tough because they don't have a speedster to just set on the speedster. So actually having a speedster to fight without actually being able to run beside him and, race him as all the Flash fights seem to be.
No more racing around a city, just lightning bolts.
Yeah, until one just hits one another. Which I love the Flash, by the way, but that happens a lot. As long as we don't get the rival showing up, I'll be happy. That rival,
That mask.
I'm the rival. We get what your name is. Stop saying your name. Anyways, so I'm totally down to see what, like, a fight like that, how you fight a speedster using their abilities, because unless you get Captain Cold is the best one to actually fight a speedster because he can slow him down. They just have more fire to shoot at a speedster, but then he can go right past it. I mean,
That's true.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to take him down.
But we also have this giant, in the very first episode of this season, we have this giant roster of characters on the board. And at some point this season, we're going to be adding to the roster of characters Arrow, the Flash, Supergirl, and they're all going to be flying around hitting stuff. And I can't imagine anything more I could need from this life.
Yeah, I hope they slow it down. I hope it's gonna be like we have Justice Society next week, and then maybe we don't have the Justice Society, and then they come back later in the season. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we can kind of not crowd the Wave Rider too much, because then you're gonna lose some story.
Absolutely. It's a lot of characters to try and balance, to try and find things to do for, to try and find arcs for that you can actually track.
Yeah. Also, I'm actually excited with what they're doing with Rip, because I think they're spending the time and effort to flush his character out and actually make him into something, especially now that his whole point of fighting is kind of gone, which was to save his family. Who is Rip now? What's the point of what he's doing? I'm glad he's off doing something, and they're going to build him up.
He's on his spirit journey, basically.
Yeah, and they made him a badass. I mean, he had a very James Bond moment, and I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, and he actually saves the day,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice to see.
And he looks really cool with
once.
that silencer, just kind of walking through. Like, all right, nicely done. Nicely done, Rip. All right, maybe you need a silencer instead of your fancy ray gun. Work better with that, I guess.
Good to end on a positive note.
This guy.
Sorry,
Dr.
guys.
Negative.
And then I'm just like,
My new superhero, or I guess a supervillain name. It's not really a superhero name.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for this episode of Legends of Tomorrow After Show. But we'll be here every week that the show is on, breaking down the show every single time. I'm repeating myself because that was how exciting that sentence
You're
was.
stuck in a loop.
I am stuck in a loop. But hopefully we're going to get Sarah Nicole Jones, who came on last season. We're going to get her on hopefully soon this season and talk about the show a little bit more in depth. We'll learn a bit more about the backstory that led into the changes from season 1 to season 2. It should be a fun conversation. But in the meantime, folks, like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hop in the chat. As always, Lacretia's got the chat up and running. She is our oracle. So if you have any questions about the show, or just about Dave Child. You want to find out what he's up to and stuff.
You want to find out what my favorite color is?
Yeah. Ask him in the chat. We'll ask him during the show. It'll be fun.
Or you can also tweet me at mrdavechild or go to davechild.com.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Well, Alex, where can they find you?
Sorry, I was just incredibly smooth.
That's right. Nice segue.
I am Lex Michael, all over social media at the Lex Michael. I'm all over DC TV here at AfterBuzz. I'm on the Arrow panel Wednesday nights, and now starting this Monday, I'm on Supergirl. I'm very excited because that show makes me oh so very, very happy. Unfortunately, the next couple of weeks, I'm not going to be with you guys. I've got some business in the time stream to attend to. I'm going to go find Rip Hunter. I'm going to let him know y'all say hi. I will be watching and cheering you all on from afar, and then I will return to tell you magical stories about like dinosaurs and the Salem witch trials and such.
Oh, I'm excited to hear
Yes.
Well, I can't top that since I'm just Lacretia Lyon, guys. You can find me anywhere at LACRETIALYON, anywhere on the internet since there is only one. And next week, right here on AfterBuzz TV, I will be guest hosting the Flash After Show. So should have catch that Tuesday.
Let me just plug one little bit. I'm at the Westworld show, so if you guys like robots and or hosts or and the Wild West and Ed Harris, maybe watch our after show. We got a cast member that just came in, and that's coming up next Sunday. So watch that.
Especially if you like MR Dave Child. If you like him, just really that's a reason to watch.
Yeah.
That's the best reason.
There you go. And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie, or don't, whatever you like to do. I'm not going to make you do anything you don't feel comfortable doing. But in the meantime, folks, we'll see you next week here on the Legends of Tomorrow After Show here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
When are you Rip?
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.